All right, let's talk about Cersei Lannister and her relationship with her cousin, her first cousin, Lancel Lannister. Their fathers are brothers, so yeah, first cousins. Oh, I mean, I say Targ's gonna Targ, but the Lannisters are not far behind. Now, in the books, Lancel is described as tall, blonde, and handsome. He's basically a mini version of Jaime Lannister when he was young. That's not a coincidence. That is why Cersei was attracted to him, because she saw Jaime. It was just a purely physical thing from Cersei's perspective, because she was certainly not attracted to Lancel's wit or his charisma or his intellect or his charm, because he didn't have much of that. Lancel is like an eager puppy. Like he's just, I want to prove myself. Let me do something. Let me show you my worth. Now, he's made to be a squire of King Robert Baratheon, at Cersei's behest, along with one of her other cousins, Tyrek Lannister. And they were given strict instructions: follow whatever Cersei asks you to do. Well, Lancel took that a little too literally. He wasn't a very good squire. Robert Baratheon made it pretty clear that Lancel was shit. Then Robert Baratheon dies after sustaining these injuries on this boar hunt. And it turns out that it was Lancel who was giving Robert this wine, and that he got it from Cersei. Now, Cersei kind of trades Jaime out for Lancel around this time, because the War of the Five Kings is beginning, and Jaime is off in the Riverlands, and he's fighting the Starks and everything. So Cersei, she turns to Lancel in King's Landing, and their relationship develops to the point where she starts sleeping with him. Unfortunately for Cersei, Tyrion figures this all out, because he can see straight away that Lancel is not a very good liar, and he wheedles the truth out of Lancel and he blackmails him and says, okay, keep up this pretense, do whatever Cersei asks you to do, but come and report back to me. And that's how Tyrion has all of this dirt on Cersei. He knows what she's been up to. Now, things go pretty bad for Lancel during the Battle of Blackwater Bay, where he is injured, like pretty badly on his arm, and then it kind of gets infected and it never really heals. Like he's in a bad way. He survives the battle and he winds up being named as the new Lord of House Darry, who have a Castle Darry in the Riverlands. The problem is Lancel is in no state to go anywhere. He literally cannot do anything for himself. A marriage proposal to Sansa Stark is floated around, but his father Kevin is like, I don't think he could even consummate that marriage, so that does not happen. At the wedding of Joffrey and Marjorie, Lancel looks terrible. Like, he's thin, gaunt, he's not looking good at all. He's like white as a sheet. Sansa Stark tries to be nice to Lancel and show him some kindness. She's like, you look great. She's lying, because he didn't. Around this time, Lancel starts to pull away from Cersei a little bit. That's a recurring theme for Cersei Lannister, but that's a story for another day. Lancel starts to get much more involved in the faith of the Seven. He kind of becomes like born again, and this is a big problem for Cersei, because if Lancel gets a little too pious and starts spilling his guts, then all of Cersei's dirty little secrets will come out, and she can't have that. Thankfully for Cersei, she gets a lucky break. Lancel is going to go to take up his seat at Castle Darry. Jaime is overjoyed by this fact, because when he was helping Tyrion to escape, Tyrion let slip about Cersei and Lancel and the Kettleblacks, and Jaime is just tormented about what Cersei's been getting up to behind his back. Now, when Lancel arrives at Castle Darry, he winds up marrying the granddaughter of Walder Frey, but he can't consummate the marriage. He's physically not able to. Instead, Lancel devotes his time even more to the faith of the Seven, and he winds up joining this branch called the Warriors' Sons, which is a militant branch of the faith of the Seven. These are the very same people that Cersei has just brought back to prominence, because she's undone a law put down by Maegor in his day that prohibited the faith of the Seven from carrying arms. Now they are allowed to do that. It's classic Cersei. She doesn't think that that's going to backfire on her. But it does. Because Lancel spills the beans about what they were getting up to. And Cersei, she is arrested by the High Sparrow, and she winds up confessing, yeah, I had a thing with Lancel. It happened, but she denies having any involvement in what happened to Robert, the boar hunt, the wine, that whole thing. That she flat out denies. Now, seemingly Lancel, health-wise, is doing a bit better, because he's in King's Landing. He's joined the Warriors' Sons. He's actually there when Cersei does her walk of atonement, and like one of the things she's atoning for is for having slept with him. So that's very awkward. Lancel kind of goes through this very humbling experience. He realises Cersei never loved him. She was always using him. She was playing him. If he hadn't looked like a young Jaime and hadn't been so naive and gullible, Cersei wouldn't have looked twice. But at the time, Lancel was easily manipulated, and that is a theme that we see with Lancel and many other people. Cersei admits to the High Sparrow that she corrupted Lancel, that she took advantage of him. Now, he was a young lad, and Cersei should never have gone there, but also he shouldn't have gone there. But he was very, very impressionable. Now, as things stand in the books, Lancel Lannister and Cersei Lannister, they're both alive. So is Jaime. Cersei has not blown up the Sept of Baelor. She has blown up a different building in the books, which is the Tower of the Hand. So I don't think she's going to do another blowing up of a building. I don't think that's going to happen. The big question is, what's going to happen to Lancel now? Is he on the road to recovery? And what does that mean for him? And the big thing is that Lancel's father, Kevin, has just been taken out by Varys just when Kevin was kind of getting the Lannisters back on track a bit. And also, Cersei has just completed her walk of atonement. She's back at the Red Keep and she's out for blood. Because even though Cersei laid the groundwork for her own arrest, she sowed the seeds, but she's still blaming other people for what happened to her, including Lancel. Jaime has had 30, 40 years of this manipulative relationship at the hands of Cersei. Lancel, it's only been a couple of years, but he's experienced the very same thing. This is Cersei's way. This is how she handles her relationships. Everything is transactional to Cersei. She never spares a thought for Lancel's feelings in any of this. But just like Jaime, Lancel, he wakes up and smells the coffee and he turns on her. This is what Cersei gets when she uses people.